Hey YouTube, JoelBoy here. So, chapter 873 of One Piece has dropped. So if you haven't checked out that chapter yet, I suggest that you do so, because I will be spoiling you. But now that you have, let's begin. Woo baby, we are so damn close. In this chapter, Oda went out of his way to emphasize all the things that would be required to remake Big Mom's wedding cake. He also went so far as to suggest that making this wedding cake would be a feat that would only fit a great cook that we are competing with. A cake must be created which must match with Big Mom's own imagination. Oda is trying his very best to convince us that the person who will make this cake or the people will be chiffon and pudding, but guys, stay the course here, because there is only one person on this island capable of such an extraordinarily awesome cooking feat, and that's our boy Sanji. And probably with the support of Pudding, once she figures out what's going on in her mind and she comes around to understanding her feelings. But no matter how you attempt to look at this, hurdles must be overcome in reaching some kind of believable conclusion. If you're gonna try and believe what Oda is selling us in this chapter, that Pudding will make the cake in Chocolate Town, you gotta jump past the hurdle that the Big Mom Pirates will be capable of luring Big Mom to Chocolate Town. Even after Big Mom said herself that if the Straw Hats didn't have the cake, that she would headhunt Pero Sparrow, and spoiler alert, they don't have the cake. So right there, it doesn't quite add up. And even despite that, in order to get cooperation from Chiffon, how exactly would she do that? Because not only 2 chapters ago, Big Mom made Chiffon cry. There has never been a better time to set up somebody saying absolutely fucking not. And the only thing Pudding could potentially do to coerce her is threaten her life. But if Chiffon makes the cake for Big Mom, then her life is done anyway. So there's absolutely zero motivation for Chiffon to make this cake unless she's simply worried about her family members, who, for the most part, have betrayed her. And this is assuming Chiffon gets captured in the first place, because the Fire Tank Pirates are booking it as of right now, and based on what I could tell, all of the strong Big Mom Pirates didn't go after any of the various groups, Straw Hats, Germa, and Fire Tank Pirates, so they sent fodders, and I'm really doubtful any of the fodders will be successful in capturing shit. And if Pudding goes to Chiffon herself, she would have to fight Vito and Gotti and an injured Capone, as well as his entire crew by herself. I'm not sure if that's exactly realistic. And to top it off, I'm doubtful that Pudding would be willing to hold Chiffon hostage in the first place and attempt to or threaten to kill her to her face, because it's essentially hinted at low-key throughout Whole Cake Island that Lola was one of Pudding's favorite sisters. And I would imagine Chiffon would be much the same, so I honestly think that the best that Pudding could possibly do is go to Chiffon and just cry and beg her to help her. And even then, I'm doubtful Chiffon would. And even if she was slightly moved, the peer pressure of the Fire Tank Pirates would, in my mind, most assuredly convince her or force her not to. We must not forget that it's life or death for the Fire Tank Pirates. As soon as Big Mom snaps out of her rage, they're fucked. So attempting to get her out of that and save everyone is not a smart plan, not a decision someone like a Capone would make. So guys, I really think that Pudding's plan is destined to fail, but I guess we will see. But arguing from the flip side, if you want to argue Sanji would help them, then we also need some sort of justification and motivation for him to do something like that. And I honestly believe this is far more arguable, but would definitely need some further developments within the story. The first of which is that as of the end of this chapter, Big Mom decided to pop by and say hello to the Straw Hats. And so obviously they're not all going to die. And so given this, then at some point in time, Big Mom and the Straw Hats must separate. And so, you know, there's many ways that this could possibly happen, but one way in which would prevent Sanji from helping anyone is if Big Mom essentially stops by, sees that they don't have the cake, and then goes after Pero Sparrow, essentially leaving them alone. In this case, the Straw Hats have absolutely zero motivation to stay behind and help them, because, as argued previously, I thought that maybe Peckham's or Pudding would plead them to help, but as of this last chapter, that does not seem very likely. So if Big Mom stops by and then leaves, and then the Straw Hats are gone. What you would need for this to happen is really for Sanji to in some way or another encounter either Peckham's or Pudding. And I much prefer the idea that he will find a way to encounter Pudding, but first of which is Big Mom could literally chase them all around Whole Cake Island until they get back to where the rest of the Big Mom pirates are. And this way they could potentially confront Peckham's and see Big Mom's what's going on firsthand and essentially delay them from leaving. But you guys should know that I'm still 100% on the train that Pudding essentially will get captured by the Vinsmoke, specifically Ichiji. And now it's hard to rationalize this in words in a short amount of time, but I just believe that there's a reason that Oda has not been showing Germa 66, Germa 66 at this point in time. And so if they do capture Pudding, that would perfectly set up Sanji saving her and for him to be in some way motivated to help her and her situation. This would be even more perfect if this happened after Pudding had gone to Chiffon and was essentially told, no, I'm not going to help Big Mom, leaving Pudding helpless. Pudding is literally the Big Mom pirates' last hope, and if Pudding's plan doesn't work, then they have no one else to turn to except for Sanji, and Sanji most certainly would never ignore a woman's tears. But anyway, I feel like bringing this up now, which is that as of this last chapter, I think there will be more people who will say that Pudding is bitch, she's an evil, things of that nature. But I want you guys to be patient. Back in chapter 862, Pudding literally cried when Sanji said that her eye was beautiful. Pudding also must maintain her relationship with the other Big Mom pirates. At this point in time, she has to put up a front, so I'm not certain if what she said is entirely believable. She is an excellent actress. Also, it's worth throwing in here as she appeared to be jealous when Sanji caught Nami and looked at her really adoringly, so it's possible that the jealousy actually has inspired Pudding to become angry at him. Long story short here, guys, is just stay the course, be patient, wait for things to unravel, because honestly, I don't think you can trust a word that comes out of her crazy mouth. But anyway, guys, long story short on the Sanji will make the cake theory, you know, the path there isn't always clear, but Sparrow literally said this, that kind of thing. Exactly who, from where, can make that cake? Come on now, we all know it's Sanji. And so anyway, let's talk about some other things. And first, we got a reappearance of a character everyone thought was dead in King Bomb. How he survived, I have no idea, but he got stitched up and is already flirting with the lady trees. But based on the very end of this chapter, where we can see Big Mom dropping in from the sky, I really wonder if Oda's gonna turn King Bomb's death, quote unquote, into just a joke. Essentially, he got killed, got stitched back up, flirting, comes back, and gets killed again by Big Mom. I honestly thought I'd be more mature than that, but even thinking about it, it just is fucking hilarious. I also think it's incredibly funny how Opera got off-screened when he died. You know, I never really had any love for the dude, but I mean, he said straight up like, Mama's gonna suck the life right out of me, and he foretold it, man. The observation hockey over 9,000. But you know, jokes aside, it's things like this which are developing my opinion for the future of Whole Cake Island. The way that Oda is writing the story, where everything sort of ties back to something else, makes it easy to speculate certain things. Like, for instance, when the Vinsmoke said that they wanted to capture Pudding. In that circumstance, right, things have changed. But I still think that that line will have some relationship to something that will happen in the future of the story. It's similar to how Opera thought that once Big Mom found out about what he had done, or if she had found out, she would suck the life out of him. But in the future, she never found out, she just went on a rage and did it, but she still did it. There's a ton of examples of this happening throughout the story, and there's a ton more that I have speculated and could speculate. The point here, guys, is that every single line within the Whole Cake Island chapters seems to be significant in one way or another. And so, guys, the last thing that I want to talk about, and honestly, guys, I almost forgot, so please forgive me, is the Shanks hype at the very beginning of the chapter in the Bartolomeo cover story. And guys, you know, I don't know what's going to happen, truth be told, but I have a belief that the Straw Hat Grand Fleet will show up when they face off against Kaido. How fucking hype would it be if Bartolomeo's chilling with Shanks and he sees, you know, Luffy's Viva card burning up or some shit like that, gets a call, you know, saying, hey, we need your help, please respond, thanks. And then Bartolomeo leads Shanks into Kaido's territory to help out. you know, it's probably not gonna happen, but, you know, I can dream, right? But honestly, I feel like the best case scenario here is if we get a Bartolomeo Shanks scene, where Bartolomeo fanboying over Luffy and Shanks, Shanks being Luffy's mentor figure. I feel like that in and of itself would make this cover story way better than the Cavendish one. But anyway guys, I thought that this chapter was good but not great. I think there was a lot of exposition. I think that at the end of the day, not a whole lot took place. The chapter felt really short. It accomplished, it moved the plot in certain ways, but I think the majority of this chapter was just deception, and I wasn't really overly emotionally impacted by anything that happened, although the big Monohide coming in with their sword at the very end was fucking badass. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Like the video if you liked the video, dislike the video if you disliked the video, subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content, and as always guys, have a wonderful day.